Hi, so today I'm going to show you how to make Banku. With Banku, what you need is some corn dough, and you also need cassava dough, or in Ghana we call it banchi more. Okay, so what I do normally is I add, basically it's 50-50. So add the same quantity of the corn dough to equal quantities of the cassava dough or banchi more. Some people, they don't like it to be very soft, they like it to be hard. So if you want it to be harder, you add more corn dough than the cassava dough. So because I've got this and I've had them in the freezer, I'm going to just add a bit of water for it to melt, to dissolve. Okay, so I have basically just put some water in this so that it will just help it to dissolve, because it's come from frozen. But obviously if it wasn't in the freezer and it wasn't frozen, then you wouldn't add this amount of water to it. So I'm just going to wait for the cassava dough and the corn dough just to soften, and then what I'll do is I'm going to separate the mixture. Okay, so I don't know whether you can tell, but what's happened is that the water has come to the top, and the corn dough and cassava dough, the banchi, has gone to the bottom. So I'm now going to try and get rid of the top layer of water. Just pouring that away. Only doing this because it was frozen. That's the reason why I'm doing that. So I wanted to soften the doughs. Okay, so I still left some water inside. So basically we just mix it together until it becomes more liquidy. So you just keep on mixing it and just smooth out all the lumps. So sometimes if the mixture is not actually smooth, because sometimes when you buy the corn dough or the cassava dough, it's not smooth enough. So if that happens, you need to just blend the mixture to make sure everything is smooth. So that's how we're going to do now. Yeah, so as you can see, we blended it and the mixture is much smoother now. Okay, so it's all blended, and I've just added just a little bit more water to it. And now I'm going to put it on the stove and going to stir it. Make sure you stir it constantly to prevent lumps from forming. And like I said, the amount of corn dough to cassava dough, when we make it, we just do equal quantities, and then you added the water to it as well, and just keep on stirring this, and it's going to become a bit thicker. Yeah, the amount of extra water that I added is probably around half a cup, because you want it to be quite liquidy, so that once you're cooking it, it will cook thoroughly and be the right texture. Okay, so basically at this stage I'm going to add some salt as well. The amount of salt you add is just to your taste. Yeah, I don't really like that much salt. I don't put too much inside my food, but like I say, the salt is to your taste. But like, make sure you keep on stirring this, because it can form lumps very quickly. Yeah, as I'm cooking it, you can see that some lumps are forming, but just make sure you just try and smooth the lumps out. When the lumps start forming, it's just showing that the mixture is cooking, it's getting ready. That's why the lumps are forming, but just try and just smooth it out a bit. Okay, I mean, some people where they live, they're not able to get the corn dough or the cassava dough, the banchi more. So sometimes what people do is they can use semolina or even grounded rice to cook it. If you're using the semolina, what you do is you just soak the semolina in water for around 3 days, and then you cook it like how we're cooking it now. Yeah, but the semolina, you can, if you want to, cook it straight away, but because I want it to ferment a little bit, that's why some people, you leave it for around 3 days and then you cook it like how we're just doing this thing here. But if you're using the semolina, what you do is the way you cook it is the way you make the semolina porridge. So you mix it with water, and then you would start stirring it and it will become thick like this. Okay, so if you're using the rice powder, what you do is you just add a little bit of powder to the water, probably a handful of powder to maybe that much water over there, and then you bring it to the boil. When it starts to boil, just remove a little bit of water, put it in a bowl adjacent, and then you add some more rice powder to it, and you stir it, and you just gradually add more rice powder to it until it thickens, like how this mixture is thickening here. It sounds confusing, but I think this is the easiest way to make it, and this is how they make it in Ghana anyway, with the corn dough and the cassava dough. So as you can see, the mixture it's thickened, so this is where you need a lot of muscles, and you basically continue to stir it to try and smooth it out so there are no lumps. And the fact that we also blended it makes the mixture actually even smoother as well. And now that it's actually become a bit more thicker, harder, you just add a bit more water to it. And then let the water come to the boil, and then you stir it. So make sure all the water that you just added to it comes to the boil. See, the water is boiling on this side, but on that side it hasn't boiled fully yet. Okay, so when it's boiled, just flip it over, and then you start to stir it again. Yeah, the reason why I added more water to it after we mix the dough is because if you don't add more water to it, it makes it very difficult for you to stir it, to mix it, and you find that you get a lot of lumps that way as well. So I'm just adding some more water to it again. Okay, the reason why I keep on adding more water to it is because I don't like my banku to be hard when I eat it, but some people, they may like it at this kind of texture. That's why I keep on adding more water to it. So the amount of water you add to it, extra water you add, just depends on how soft or hard you want the banku to be once it's cooked. Okay, so the banku is now cooked. This is how soft I want it to be. So normally just get a bowl, scoop some up, and then just fold it over like this to make it into a ball shape to serve. Yep. So again, you just scoop it and then just make it into a ball shape. You sometimes use some cold water just because it's a bit hot to handle. So that's how you shape the banku. And just serve it with the okra stew, then nkrumah fryer, or some people have banku with hot pepper, and some people even have banku with soup, isn't it? Yeah, so you just have it with the stew of your choice. I'm going to have it with the okra stew in nkrumah fryer. Okay, so that's the banku done. Well, I hope you enjoy it.